Hey there, comic friends. I'm Travis, and it's the Comic Roundtable. Yay! With my usual cast of lovelies, Res Reeds, and Sergeant America. How's it going, guys and gals?
Fantastic.
Boom! Good.
So if I just, I forgot to mention before we went on air, if I suddenly disappear, we have like record gale force winds going on here right now. We went from having our beautiful spring where it was pushing 70 degrees, that now it's back down to, freezing temperatures and snowstorms all around and whatnot. So yay. At any rate, we flipped the imaginary sided coin and it came up indie comics. We're going to talk indie comics to start out with. So I'm sure anybody who tunes in the next 15 minutes is going to be totally thrown as to what the hell is going on, because we're talking indie books at the beginning. When Ryan C shows up and we're talking Marvel at the end of the night, he's going to be going, what's going on? And he will not be happy. So at any rate, indie books, what do we want to talk first? You itching to talk right away, Mike?
Sure. I mean,
go ahead.
We can do Skyborn.
Oh,
yeah. Rez, would you please start on this?
Oh yeah. This has been a hiatus forever, hasn't it? It was okay, this started in 2016.
Yes, in September.
Yep. Yeah, and it went on hiatus early 2017, I think. And so last we saw was Merlin, and is it Daniel, the character Daniel?
Yeah.
Daniel and Merlin at a head. Is it the Skyborn? One of the Skyborns.
Yeah, Thomas is the
Tom. Okay, yeah, one of the Skyborns. He wants to die. Helen is his wife. That she's passed on. One of his whole hang up is that he wants to die. He wants to be with Helen. And after he learned about his sister died, he said, "You know what? This is my time to go too." And so the last issue that we had we left off in before this fifth issue is that he wants to die too. And so he's going this mission once he head off with Merlin, is that he's going to go ahead and take Merlin out as long as he gets to meet his death as well. And so this issue that we are encountering now is that Merlin wants to open Pandora's box. And so while Merlin is he's going to take out the sword out of he's taking out the sword out of what do you call it?
Excalibur, the
Excalibur,
stone.
The sword of the Excalibur stone. He's opening Pandora's box. He's letting out the dragons, all that mythical stuff. He's opening Pandora's box. He's doing all that stuff, whatever. We actually find out that Grace is not, his sister was never dead. She was actually in stasis. She's actually alive. And we have a nice little neat wrapped up little ending right at the end. I don't know if I want to spoil it, but
spoil it.
Spoil it. Okay. Our Skyborn, he actually went to go and get blown up and actually doesn't even die. Doesn't even die. He literally goes and just goes to an explosion, like an atom bomb explosion, and just the explosion heads over. And he's like, "Oh shit! Okay, I can't even get blown to smithereens. I just can't die." So those Skyborns, yeah, they just don't die. They just don't. They are fully immortal. Merlin can die.
Yeah.
Merlin can die.
I think that was the thing. Yeah, they were hoping that Excalibur would be the thing that would be able to kill them, but they find out when I think Merlin uses it that no. It only put his sister in stasis, but she uses it on Merlin and just hacks him up to pieces.
Yeah,
but
his whole entire head.
Pandora's gate does open, and so we do get some wonderful Cthulhu monsters coming through.
Which is awesome.
Yeah, the way Rez described it, told that story, I think, at least 5 times better than what Cho did in this. I really felt that Cho put a outline and he had it like the first two drawn and it looked beautiful. And then he kept saying, I can't complete this on time because I have con sketches to do to make money. Because this is Boom Studio, so they don't really need to make these out on time. Like we said, 2 years in the making for 5 issues. I was seriously pissed about this thing because I think I thought I was going to be done with it twice.
Yeah.
I do love the art, but I didn't really feel the characters were flushed out. I felt that we invested a lot more into them and we filled in all the gaps with our imagination compared to what he did with the storyline.
Yeah, you know what?
That's outrageous. He literally say, "I'm not gonna get this book finished on time because I have con sketches to do."
No, I'm saying that.
Okay. Okay. So the implication is that he's too busy trolling the internet with his titillation jokester art on covers to piss people off.
Yes.
Spend too much time doing that and not doing the book. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So and that's the thing. So there's been some sexual controversial covers that he does that he says he has the right to do. And him and Repka argued over Wonder Woman. So when it comes to his own book, what was I expecting? For him to drop all the bombs, all the gates and say, look at me, this is what I do, so eat it. What do we get instead? We get Sleepy posted this. What you've never seen boobs before? I've never seen boobs that perky or that firm. She goes, you don't get out too much. So all you see is a little underboob. That is the weakest that Cho has ever done compared to his con covers.
Yeah. I was actually shocked by those few panels. I actually screenshotted that. I'm glad you showed that because I was screenshotted that and I was gonna say what I was so shocked compared to what I've seen his covers, because I have purchased covers from him that were more explicit than those panels. So really shocked to see that. I'm glad you showed that because I was like, wow, I've seen much more nudity from him. So really kind of tame compared to what he usually does.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's because it's Boom Studio.
Are they not allowed to do?
Well, I think they're allowed to do what they want to, but I think Boom Studio also produces a lot of, kids material. So I don't think I mean, he wants to act like editors shouldn't be controlling him, but they do, All
right. Because I wondered, you even see right here, the oh darn, or the blah 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 blah.
Oh yeah, the little asterisks and characters and stuff cover up. Yeah. I did notice that when you think about it. Yeah, the bleeping.
Yeah. So for as much as he fights about it on social media, then he goes and does this. And like I said, if he had done 5 in 5 months or 5 in 7 months, I would have been fine with the idea of, all right, this is a cute little story. This is all right. I'm done with it. But when it extended out, it didn't really make me want it except for the artwork, because I do love his artwork.
Yeah, his artwork is nice. But you know what? You're right. The characters weren't fleshed out enough as far as like some of the emotional pull wasn't there. Maybe especially in the last 3. I say last 3 issues. I think I felt more about him wanting to die, maybe for the first 2 issues for sure. Like, I felt more compelling. I felt it was more compelling, like him wanting to die, but you really felt it. But then it just felt like it was rushed.
7 months. 7 months between the last issue and this issue.
Yes.
7 months with nothing. I mean, I know stuff happens. People get sick, family members die, whatever. But to the best of my knowledge, there's none of that. No. Because he's continued to show up on social media places, doing his shtick. Yeah.
And
that is such a punishment to the single issue buyer. Why would you ever buy his stuff in single issue anymore?
Yeah. And like Rez said, there was some awesome action fight scenes that we got to see in this. And then, of course, in traditional artist style, there also was some lazy moments. So, I want to be more positive about this book, but every once in a while, especially the time issue, continued to piss me off.
So do you know, 6 months from now, he says he's putting out a Skyborn Volume 2. You gonna pick it up in singles?
I can't wait to buy the trade, like you said.
Yeah, exactly. Or it'll be on Hulu at some point.
Yeah,
3 years from now, it'll show up on Hulu.
Yeah, pretty much so.
Like I said, I mean, I'm used to it. I buy lots of independent books, used to the delays or whatever. They're usually announced. I usually have an understanding of why it's happening. Or I see on social media that something, you know, like I said, those significant life events happen that are out of your control that delay a book to some degree. But it seems to me like 7 months, unless there's a real justification, what the hell, you know? I don't know. And I don't know. Maybe he really did have something going on. I mean, not like I know, but it just seems irresponsible to me to.
Yeah.
I don't know. Wow. Cool. I have no interest in reading it.
Yeah.
In trade or on Hulu, so.
Yeah. It was fun. It was fun to flip through. If you guys can get it for nothing, I recommend it.
Yeah, because I don't think he's that interesting of a person to create anything that interesting that I want to read. So,
because like I said, it really felt more like I got just an elevator pitch or an outline as opposed to him doing a full story. Like when I see Tom King give his pitch from the director's cuts, I get a full story or full idea. This kind of felt like somebody was making up as they went, or it was just an outline. And I know he's been in the business as an artist. He knows how to tell it in pictures. He knows how to, make it sequential and wonderful, but filling it out, nobody felt rounded out as a character.
Cool. Alrighty. What else do we want to talk about?
I absolutely. Should I talk about what I loved? My favorite of the week?
Sure. Go ahead.
I think you already know what it is.
More than likely I do, but go ahead.
Black Monday Murder.
Yes, Black Monday Murder issue number 8, right? 8. Yes. 8.
Oh gosh, it was the best.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome.
The best. It was like the catalyst of the week. Like you already know. I didn't start off with the week. I didn't start it off because I was like, it had to be. I think it was like I tried to keep it for the end. I tried to hold it off for the end for me. But it was like the second to last for me. The second to last because I wanted to savor it. I wanted to savor it. But OMG.
Yes, we get a serious magical almost had a nipple slip there. We get a serious magical throwdown in this issue. The familiar has already chewed up some people and covered in.
He was like, "I'm taking."
She's covered in blood. Yeah, she's covered in blood. Yeah, we get this. We get this magical challenge. This magical challenge between the guy who killed our victim that started this whole book out, the investigation around the murdered CEO of a banking company. It's the actual person who did that versus the sister. Well, and her familiar, basically, and the familiar and what he's like, Ivan is his name or something like that.
Victor Cresco.
I am Carlin. Yes. Yes. I love this scene. I mean, because he looks, he's all beat up, but he's extremely passionate here. The lady asks him if he wants a second. He's insulted by the idea that he need a second. Yeah. Let's see here.
Because he thinks he's gonna win. He's like,
and he's like, I'm a badass. He takes his clothes off. He's ready to battle in this magic circle, and that's what he does. And they go to town.
I want you to see all of me. I want you to see. I want you to be embarrassed by the fact that I took your brother. I took all of him, and I want you to know that I'll take you orphan so and so.
It's absolutely needless to say. He loses.
Yes.
There she is. There's the sister consuming his heart. Now, see, that was all cool. That was all badass, wonderfully drawn by Corker. The colors on it are just amazing.
His art
I love all all the elements of it, the colors, And that's all, like I said, that is all cool. That was all great and whatnot. But actually, I loved what comes after this even more. When it turns all sepia as we get back to the detective, you know, so it has this kind of crime noir feel with the color of it and whatnot. And he goes in to tell the sister, man, I know who did it, but we're never going to get evidence to prove who did it. And the guy's disappeared.
Yep.
You know, he knows who did it, but he can't prove it. And he's like, and sister's like, well, I appreciate you trying. You know, she's like, I appreciate you trying. She's all sitting there at her desk, all powerful and whatnot. And we get to the real crux of it, right? Yeah. He wants to know. He desperately wants to know. He needs to know what really is going on.
Yep.
And yeah, and he gets pulled into the fold. Ultimately, I loved it.
Yep.
I love that.
I want in. He's like, I want in. And you know what? What kind of makes me wonder? Does he want in because he wants to bring them down, or does he want in because he wants to be pulled in and wants to be pulled in so that he can be pulled into the darkness? You know?
I think he just wants. I think right now he wants the knowledge. It's the, you know, he's a detective. I think he's a detective at heart, and I think he wants to really know. That's what he wants. Him getting sucked in. That's going to be the consequences of knowing. I think. I just think he's got this deep desire to really know it's because he just knows just enough, right? He knows just enough to know there's all this stuff that's going on behind the inner workings. There's all this stuff going on behind the scenes, and he wants to know what that is. He's desperate to know what that is. So, and of course, we get a little bit of some graphics, some redacted info in it, and then we get a little short little thing at the end of it. They're in like Italy, I want to think. And they're bringing somebody else home back to America and back to the banking. So clearly, I wondered if this was going to be the issue that ended it. I mean, this issue feels like it ends an arc.
It sure does.
You know, but it feels like clearly we got a lot more story to go. I just have no idea what the output of this book is, though. I don't remember ordering it for quite some time, so that I don't know about as far as how it's going to be.
The ending. Do you remember the ending where the little boy? Which they like, you can come now. Your sister called for you.
Right.
About damn time.
Right. Well, clearly there's lots more story. I haven't seen it to order it, though, is what I'm saying is. Yeah. But this issue is thick. I didn't count the pages, but it's definitely got a lot more to it than your standard comic does. But awesome book.
Indeed.
Yeah. I want to talk Sleepless.
Oh, yes.
Issue number 3. I'm going to have to look up the definition of what a romance book or a romance comic is supposed to be and whatnot, because I mean, this was built, but it's like courtroom drama. And I don't say courtroom as in judge and jury, but courtroom as in like a medieval era type courtroom stuff, as our main character, Poppy, is trying to figure out now that her uncle is the king now. Where's her place in the court? Where is she safe? Where is she safe? Her really only friend now is Cedric, this sleepless knight. They take a vow and they do some magic or something to them, and they literally never sleep. But they walk around looking miserable. I mean, they do such a good job of coloring him and drawing him. Every time I see him, it makes my eyes tired and sore because he just looks exhausted all the time. He's got the shadow under his eyes, and that's how he looks always because he never sleeps, and whatever kind of toll that takes on you. But so Poppy's trying to navigate the new court. She's trying to make friends, and the daughter of the new king, basically, she's kind of a pock-faced, pimply-faced girl. And she basically says, oh, you're being extra nice to me like my handmaidens do. But I know my handmaidens talk behind my back. Is that what you do too? And so Poppy is clearly very concerned over the fact that this implication. There's a big tournament. You get to the end of the tournament, and Poppy's knight is in the tournament, and he ends up winning. And he wins over the cousin of the pimply-faced girl. And the pimply-faced girl really likes her cousin. So bad stuff may come, if you don't let... this kid seems to think that you should let the royalty win, not just whoever's the best person win the tournament, but the royalty should win the tournament. So I'm really enjoying it. I'm like I said, I'm surprised. I like the Leila Del Duca's art. I enjoy it quite a bit. It's the biggest reason I picked up in the first place. Plus the fact I was curious about a romance comic. I mean, I could see some seeds of potentially there being romance, but it's not like it's not some kissy face thing. So
between the Sleepless Night and between Poppy, you think?
Because but it's not like they're diving deep into that. We're getting all this other stuff, right? So yeah, but like I said, I'm enjoying it. Surprisingly, because I wasn't sure what I was getting into, but I am really enjoying it. So
I'm really enjoying it too. Thus far, it's really good book.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to watch her navigate. It's kind of like it's a safe and sane version of the courtly arguments in Crown of Thorns.
Yeah.
Is that what it's called? No, what's it called? Is that what it's called? Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones. I was going to call it Crown of Thorns. Game of Thrones.
How could you not know? Wow.
I know, right? I'm sorry, I'm not riding the wave of pop culture, and I'm not totally savvy and up on that show. So yeah.
What IPA do they have on top?
It's Blue Ribbon all the way, man. I only made it as far as the beard. I didn't get to the rest of hipster school yet. So, alrighty, what else do you want to talk about, Rez? I know you had to have read at least one other book.
Okay, let's see. Definitely want to talk about Kill or Be Killed. So good.
I got questions about the ending. Though. I'm a bit confused.
Oh, you're a bit confused.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm a bit confused by the ending of it. I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure what's happening.
Okay, so I'm really enjoying seeing our main character Dylan.
Mm-hmm.
You remember how I used to call what I used to call him?
I don't know.
I used to call Kyle or something.
Something like that. At any rate.
Okay, well, anyway, I'm really enjoying Dylan. Seeing him all souped up and the lizard people. I'm enjoying seeing him, go in and out of his consciousness, and not really seeing him battle the demon this episode. Because I mean, normally we're always seeing in the corner lurking around the demon, but this one we actually get to just see him, and we're seeing him, battling just the medication. And just him dealing with being in the hospital under sedation, pretty much, and trying to explain to this doctor that, look, hey, I am this killer. Like, look, this is a copycat killer. It's really me. I'm trying to explain to you that they got the wrong guy. And we find out towards the end that his roommate Mason really actually found his mask, found bullets, found the shotgun, and decided to go ahead and call the police and report him. While actually reporting him, the cops were had the copycat actually caught in the mist, caught the copycat killer, and the copycat killer got one of the cops, and while the copycat killer was on the loose, so the copycat killer killed one of the cops dead, and so while Mason was reporting Dylan, they caught the guy, and so it's gonna be a shitstorm pretty much. It's gonna be like he's reporting Dylan, and Dylan's they're gonna say Dylan's actually gonna be released from the hospital even though he's still in the hospital. Well,
see, that's where it gets confusing because that's not right.
Yeah.
Because at the end of it, the copycat guy.
Yeah.
The reason he's a copycat guy is, and Dylan points out that he's just shooting low-level thugs. He's not shooting curated targets. He's just shooting thugs.
Yeah, but he got caught.
No, he doesn't get caught. He shoots the cop and runs away. No one catches him.
He got caught. He shot the cops.
Yeah, he shot the cop, but he didn't get caught, is what I'm saying. Masked Man kills cops. It doesn't say anywhere that he's caught. He shoots the policeman and runs away.
Okay. But then
so the copycat killer is still on the loose.
Yes, okay.
So and Dylan while he's walking around in the psych ward has discovered that there's a nurse there who is fondling the doped up women. Yes. And so he's like, that guy's going to die. Yeah. There's no demon telling me that he has to die, but I know this is real justice and that guy has to die. Yeah. So he's planning that. Yeah. Dylan's roommate, suddenly we have him on here. He's read the paper about the serial killer. He calls up Bellevue, the hospital, and goes, I want to talk to Dylan. Is Dylan there? Whatever. We find out that Dylan's been gone. He's been released days ago. Yeah. Wait, so he's been released days ago, but at the same time, he's in the hospital. Yes. So is he hallucinating that he's in the hospital and he's wandering the streets? What's going on?
I thought he was still in the hospital, though.
Did Dylan's roommate just find the mask and stuff, or is he the vigilante? Is he the copycatter? The last 3 or 4 pages confused the hell out of me as far as what's really going on.
You know what? I can see why you're confused.
Because, he's in the hospital. He's in the hospital. His girlfriend and mom come and visit him. He's stuck in the hospital for...
Mason's setting him up. Oh.
But what I don't understand, Mason calls and the hospital says he's not there. So is he there or is he not? That's the part I don't understand. Has he...
See, I wasn't going this far. I was literally thinking, this makes sense. This is good. I literally thought... I'm thinking he's still in the hospital. He's going to kill this orderly for roping up women. So he's still in the hospital. And I'm thinking Mason called the police on Dylan. Right. And I'm thinking he's calling the police on Dylan saying, hey, police, my roommate Dylan is he's the killer. He's out here killing people. Oh my God, look at Peanut. I know. I'm like, hey, he's the killer. He's out here killing people right now, But and the cops are gonna be like, well, that's crazy because he's locked up. So how does that happen? And they're gonna be like, debunked. That's not possible, right?
Well, I don't know. Like I said, the end of it confused me. I'm not 100% sure. I'm sold on what's going on.
I think we solved it because Mason's the killer.
I don't know. I love this whole part in the middle, this whole conversation, this whole thought is, when did you first realize that there is no such thing as actual justice? When did you just accept it? I loved all that kind of internal dialogue there. All just really good, thoughtful writing on that. And the way they write, the way Dylan's narrating it to us, it gives you the opportunity, I feel like, as a reader, to ponder yourself. At what point in your life, when you as kids, we, unless you instantaneously from birth have a horrible existence, we're all kind of innocent, have this, view of right and wrong. It should be simple and black and white. And at what point do we suddenly lose that and stuff? And so I thought there was some good, interesting writing in there on that kind of stuff too. So
yeah, I like the part where he just said that he was like, when he made the statement that you think life's fair,
Right. Yeah. Like I said, I just thought the whole thing was good statements and a lot of interesting stuff in it as far as that goes. But still really enjoy that comic. I love the artwork that's in it, and it's just a smart comic. I'm still not sold on what's happening at the end there. I look forward to the next issue to hopefully make a little more sense to me. I hope so.
Well, it made sense to you now, but now I'd go back and. Huh.
Yeah. Let's briefly talk. Jenny Finn, issue number 4. Did you read issue 4?
I read half of it. I didn't get back on that one.
Yeah. So artist changed. So it doesn't have the same art, so it doesn't have the same flow to it. I don't think. Mm-hmm. It ends like a lot of Mignola books do, in that it doesn't really give you real answers. It just kind of floats off into nowhere. We get exposed to a giant monster. The giant monster dies in some sense, and then it's done. I mean, it's amusing at the end of it because Jenny Finn turns into a giant, like, sea monster of sorts that our main character ends up doing in because she wants to be put out of her misery. And then the crowd shows up because she falls out of a window. They chop her up into lots of little parts and they serve her all over the place. And the last scene is them serving a hot plate of tentacles to the Queen of England. So, which is kind of amusing, that part of it, but yeah, it was all right. Got any others you want to talk about?
Let's see. There was this book that I read that I really liked called Death of Love. But it was an image book. I was trying to look for the damn on my other phone. Let me look it up, the cover real quick.
Death of Love, huh?
Yeah. It's an image book. Death of Love. #1. It was really, here it is. Justin Jordan. You know Justin Jordan?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Really, it was really, I think.
Right.
Yeah, that was the art style was pretty cool. It had this I should see. That was the art style in there. Okay, so I actually got to read all the little interesting in between matter, back matter, all the forethought and all that stuff in here by the writer and stuff like that in here. But really cool book, and is pretty much the premise of the book is it deals with this guy who the main character is this guy who is pretty much an asshole. Like he's an asshole. He's not likable. The main character is he's not a likable character. And that's what they say this guy's an asshole. He's not somebody you are supposed to like. He is a nice guy, but he's not a nice guy where he likes a girl, he does things for, but he doesn't do things for because he's nice. He does it because he expects things from her. So, he because he expects, he expects to get things, and so, and he has this one friend who's calling him out for it, telling him, "Hey, look, I see it. Look, if you do you even know anything about this girl? Like, do you say you like the girl, but do you really know anything about her? I mean, how instead of trying to go out and try to do all these like little seminars and stuff like that to try to conquer women, why don't you actually try to do things that will, like get and try to get you to like get into women's pants? Why don't you actually try to do nice things, like for women, like and try to get to know the women, And so instead of actually listening to his friend, he goes into this one seminar, and then fails miserably after the seminar, like sets him out on trying to scope a room to try to hit on women. And him and these 3 guys, they are sitting there getting drunk, spending all their money, and this one weird guy like pitches to them that he can give them these pills, these red pills that will make, that will help them find love. And that, they're going about everything all the wrong way. He's like, you can take the blue pill like Neo and, and see things the wrong way, or I can give you the red pill and you can see things the right way. He's like, just look at me as Morpheus. And so they take these little red pills with the little heart stamps on it. And you see where I'm going, it's like a little Valentine-esque kind of thing. And they take these little red pills. They got nothing to lose. These 3 guys, they take red pills, and next thing you know, they see these kind of very angry-esque kind of cupids with their little very angry red bows all over the place. Next thing you know, this is the premise where they are fighting cupids all over the place. So I'm guessing next issue we're gonna see them fighting cupids. All over. So they're finding love, but not in the way you would traditionally find love.
Right. You're not finding love and being in love. You're just finding love. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Huh. I don't buy much in the way that Justin Jordan writes because he has some good ideas, but in the past I have not been happy with the way he ultimately executes things. So I've been a little gun shy to pick up new books by him. So unless the premise really hooks me, I generally don't order books from him.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Totally
sounds like that one might be fun though.
Yeah, it was this one like spread page where he was like literally with all these little cupids, like him like fighting cupids and leg and bleeding, or it was crazy. I was like, oh, this is wild. This is wild. I liked it. I actually screenshotted it, but I can't find the damn phone. But Death of Love.
Cool. Okay, along those lines, of course, it was the next week of Twisted Romance, because this is coming out every week in February. So we have our, this story and right, yeah, this story. Make sure I get it down. So I like this issue again. I thought this was fun. I mean, it's totally different than the last issue. And the last issue had this kind of dark and sinister stuff going on in it. This one does not at all. It's very. I mean, this story on this side is I thought was very cute. I like the I like this, this main character. She's fun. She's kind of struggling with the whole body image thing because clearly she's a curvy lady. She works as a photographer's assistant, and of course she has to surround herself with these, waif thin models all the time and stuff. She ends up discovering the cute, encounters the cute boy in the story, and they do some interesting photo shoots, and she ends up being attracted to the guy, and they go out on a date, and then the date kind of goes weird, on her, and we discover at the end of it that the guy is asexual, not aromantic, but asexual. So he's not going to really go anywhere, which she ends up being fine with and whatnot. But I don't know. I liked it. I like the whole, the cute stuff. There's one page that I won't show. That's her kind of going to bed and having a fantasy of what she thinks her date's going to be like, which has got all kinds of XXX stuff all over it. But
I was like,
what? What's that? Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, it was.
It reminded me of something.
I thought it was a lot of fun. I thought it was a lot of fun. What did you think of it?
Well, the pages that I saw reminded me of something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Something I saw. I thought, oh, my goodness.
Yeah. But I don't know. I thought it was fun, and then this one which is kind of amusing too. Is basically this girl has a conversation with someone on the internet that is saying that they're an artificial intelligence, looking for love, and she's suspect of how would I really know whether you're that or you're just some troll, And then it's kind of have a conversation about what would it be like what is love, what is desire. And some of that sort of stuff. And I don't know. I really liked it too. I thought it was kind of a fun story. I didn't read the prose. I haven't gotten around to reading the prose on the inside yet.
I couldn't get through the prose because I was like, that whole entire story itself was kind of like, what is this? It was okay. That little story with the girl and the artificial intelligence. I read that twice. I was like,
oh. I don't know. I like that. I like this. I thought this was.
I didn't say I didn't like it. I just read it. I ended up reading it twice because I was like, "Are they trolling her? Like seriously?" Like,
no, you're right. Well, yeah. I mean, that's the question: is that it, or is it? I mean, well, see, it ends really cute. I thought. I mean, the stuff that they like, and the question is, is this enough? Are we in love? What does it take? Where is the line between having friends and it being love or whatever, kind of thing. So I don't know. I liked it.
No, I know. I just want to make sure I was trying to figure out with the trolling.
Alrighty. Any other books you want to talk about?
Yeah. Let's see. Barbarella.
Barbarella.
Barbarella?
Yep, sure enough.
I really enjoyed.
Yeah, I mean, I still think the book is really fun. I think it, like I said, like I said yesterday, I really think it feels like it captures the flavor of at least the movie for me, the Barbarella movie, and it still has a decent enough plot line and story and kind of character moments to keep me interested beyond the nostalgia of the whole Barbarella movie and whatnot. I've never read Barbarella comics before. Rez, have you?
No,
Because I mean, even the movie's based off of a French comic book and whatnot. So I wasn't sure how close this is to that or whatever.
I've seen the movie.
Yeah. But I just think it's a lot of fun. There's some secret agents on this world. They're planning on basically killing everybody in the world, not by blowing them all up, but basically making them sterile. These people they literally have their sexual organs removed through computer surgery. All babies are born through a genetic. They have a genetic material database. They blow up those bases. So the only way they're going to be able to reproduce is if they go back to the weaves, as they're called, and have their organs put back on, and then they have babies the normal way. Of course, that's against the religion to have babies the normal way. It's all sin. And this guy is going to use this computer chip to put in the weaves to basically wreck them so nothing works, and then the race will just die because they're all sterile, and everybody in the world will die ultimately. Barbarella keeps that from happening. They're all forced to go back to having their organs back, and then that pretty much ends the war because everybody is too busy copulating to save the race, and so they don't spend their time making war machines and stuff like that. So it ultimately has the same goal, and she flies off into the end to whatever her next adventure is going to be. I just think it's funny when she gets her parts back, because she had her parts removed, and she's like, I better double check. Oh, yep, they seem to all be there. Later on, I'll do a more in-depth checking. It's like, oh dear, But
right.
I think it's a fun book. I'm just thoroughly tickled with how much it actually has something interesting going on in it, and it's not just TNA. And I love the end of it, because the end of it, to kind of keep the whole thing subversive, the person that's left behind is handing out romance novels. He's sneaking romance novels to the ladies to keep the juices flowing, as it were. So
make sure some milk is lapped up properly.
I knew you had to stick that in there somewhere. Golly. Yeah. Anyway, fun book. I continue. Oh. We're gonna get to that later on. Yeah. We're talking DC. We'll talk some lapping. Oh. Alrighty. I'm gonna quickly talk about the last of the Lazarus X66. Love this issue. This issue of this miniseries has to do with the dragon. He is like the mythical of the Lazari for the families. He's called the dragon. He's extra huge. I mean, this cover shows him, right? If you look at proportions, this is a severed head he's hanging on to. It looks very much smaller than his head because he is huge. Anyway, we get kind of like the history of the dragon, who he was before he became the dragon, what he had to go through once he became the dragon. There's this guy there that's trying to kill him because the dragon killed his family in a very vile way. He doesn't just kill people, he mutilates them in very perverse fashion and whatnot. But this guy's sneaking into this cave that's his home, and there's like baby dolls laying around, there's children's toys, I mean, there's all this kind of creepy stuff, and he ends up getting jumped. The dragon jumps him, busts him up pretty good, and then he sits down and has tea with the guy just to have a conversation about why you're trying to kill me. You get to the end of it, and of course the dragon does in this assassin and puts his head on a shelf, and there's this shelf, and there's all these severed heads, and there's some stands, and they have plaques on them, and it's like all the other Lazarus names are there, Forever's names there, all the other names. He's planning on collecting all the other Lazarized heads at the end of it. Great issue. Jones has some great art in it. It's all dark and eerie. Perfect for this kind of cave dwelling thing. But cool to find out more about the dragon that is everybody is afraid of. All the other Lazari are afraid of him. Everybody's afraid of him. I'm also excited because we're like a month out from the regular Lazarus book coming back. So I'm like, super stoked for that too. So any other comics, indie comics you want to talk about, Rez?
Let's see. No, I'm just waiting on my Milk Wars.
Okay. Briefly talk about Rumble issue number 3. I don't know. I just don't know if I'm going to be able to buy into this.
I couldn't do it. I literally had that. And I was like, nope.
Yeah. The dialogue still works. These guys, the Oos, they're funny. They're funny as could be. I love their dialogue as they're walking around with the Scarecrow God and stuff. It just doesn't. It's missing something. I didn't realize that Del, who's been in almost every issue, was Del in this until they named him by name. So I don't know. I still like it. It's just not right though. So I'm frustrated with it. I'm not settling into the universe. And don't get me wrong. Love Dave Rabine's art. And it sounds like they're in this for the long haul. The back matter, it says he's in for the long haul. So it's not like he's just filling in for, an arc or something. I mean, it sounds like they have big plans and I don't know.
It just don't feel the same to me.
It doesn't. It's amazing how much James Herron's art really
gave us. I love the Ether. I love
it. Yeah.
I love that book. I loved it. I just don't feel the same about Rumble with him.
Well, see, well, it's all right. I like the art in here just to look at it for art, but looking at it to tell me the Rumble story, it doesn't. I don't know. It just doesn't seem right.
I don't know what my deal is. I don't know why I can't accept it.
Yeah. I don't know, because the coloring's basically the same. Because the coloring's still done by Dave Stewart, but there's something about it just not quite the same. The story itself has jumped some though too. The characters aren't exactly the same, so because time has passed and it's kind of a different function and whatnot. So, briefly talk about Grass Kings. This is issue number 12. Things are starting to come to a header in this. The feds are showing up. The feds have been called in. So it's and towards the end of the book, they're kind of like surrounding the grasslands, the Grass Kingdom, and they're getting ready to storm the place. Robert the Grass King has gone out to this island where this like billionaire lives, in this recluse lives, to try and hopefully get some armament or something like that to help out. And the guy does have some guns, so they're going to fight the fight. Is exactly what it seems to me. So I'm interested. I'm interested. I think this ends at like 15, though. I was hoping it was going to be a longer kind of thing. I'm hearing 15 might be the end of it. I've heard from John DaCosta that maybe it's going to take a break and it'll come back in chapters. I don't know, though, with this whole storming of the grasslands, what that ultimately is going to be. I'm not exactly sure and whatnot. But I have been enjoying it, and I'll be okay if it ends at 15. So looking at the comments, Sleepy's here, and he says it just shows how alchemical art and writing is, which is very true. We're talking Rumble with that. In some books, which is weird because, like I've said before, the big two, the corporate comics, I accept changes in art all the time. It's the norm. But after getting 12 issues or so of this very stylized, the visuals of it really have a lot of meaning, and stuff, and then to change it just really matters. So, but yeah, Judas issue number 4. I'm still digging this. They end up pulling Christ into the equivalent of purgatory, where Judas is at currently, and Satan is at, and a whole bunch of other people. Because Christ has died, and now of course he needs to rise again. He hasn't risen again, and they're beating the holy hell out of him. Judas is there going, did you know? Was this whole big setup? Did you know the entire time that I was going to end up hanging myself and going to hell, kind of thing. It's this large conversation around did you know, and why would you do that to me? Why would you set me up this way? Why would God set us up to this, for this level of abuse? It doesn't make any sense. So they, all the other people that supposedly have been shortchanged by Jesus along the way are all there. They're all getting their licks in on Christ. Christ is basically is continuing to look at Judas with this forgiving face, like I don't hold you accountable for anything that's happening now. And then they pick him up and they throw him off this edge, and he's gone. And Judas is like torn. He's like, they shouldn't have done this to me, but he is a nice guy, and I don't know that we should be doing this bad stuff to him. And he's like, well, where is he now? And Lucifer's like, he's in the pit of the pit where I can't even go. And Judas is like, we can't have that. And Judas goes diving in after him. So now Judas is out to save Christ, even though he feels like Christ set him up for the thing. I really love the art in it. I don't know. The story isn't, I mean, I like it because I like stories that kind of flirt around with this kind of stuff and whatnot. Clearly, depending on what your sensibilities are, the whole thing could be really offensive, I guess. If you don't think the stories of the Bible can be touched in any way. But I don't really feel like they're being blasphemous necessarily either in it. But like I said, I'm enjoying the story that is. But next issue is the last issue, so clearly he's going to have to figure it out, I guess. But
yeah, I never believed that any one comic damns or saves me or affects my salvation. I actually think it's good because it's the discussion I've always heard. Is it predestination or is it free will? So I think it sounds like a great comic.
Right. I said it's a fun kind of a question. It's interesting seeing it from Judas' perspective, going, wait, I got shortchanged here. I mean,
you remember that Chosen by Mark Millar? You remember that comic?
No, because it's Mark Millar, and so I didn't read it.
Where you remember?
I'm a Mark Millar hater, so.
I spent so much money on the damn first issue. I had so mad.
Yeah. But no, I like stories that kind of play around that. So it's it was. No.
I mean, to be honest, I would have bought into that whole what's that called again? Judas.
Mm-hmm.
I would have bought into it, but I feel like you read one, you read them all.
Yeah.
Sure. Well, for me, it's a conversation I've had with other people before. I mean, to me, it feels like it's playing off the coattails of Andrew Lloyd Webber's Jesus Christ Superstar.
Yes.
Kind of a thing where in that, and after Judas hangs himself.
Yes.
Yeah, it's along the same lines. You're right. It is. It's not treading new ground.
Exactly.
For me personally, I like the art, and so I think it's a fun story to tag along for that. So.
Exactly. So yeah, I feel like it's not going to tread any new ground. So for me, in all likelihood, I can't abide. Abide it.
Interesting. Alrighty. I don't have any other indie books to talk about. Any indie type news?
I was surprised to see Mary J. Blige is going to be in the new Umbrella Academy movie. Or series that's going to be on Netflix. Yeah,
I hadn't heard that. Nice. Nice.
I have those trades.
I'm looking forward to checking that out and seeing what that's going to be like on the screen as opposed to comics, because I really dig the comics. So.
Yeah.
Interesting. Other indie news that The Kitchen got picked up. That's a Vertigo book. It got picked up to be a movie. McCarthy. I want to say Jenny. That's not right though. Is it Jenny?
Melinda
McCarthy has already been tagged to be in it and whatnot. So that's cool. I liked that that series. Basically, it's a story about some women who are married to basically mobsters. Their husbands get thrown in prison, so they clearly need to have revenue to survive until their husbands get out of prison. So they take over the business. They actually run it better than the husbands do. And when the husbands come back, they kind of shut them down and don't let them come back to the business. And some other sticky situations get in there too and whatnot. So I think it'll be really interesting. And I would assume if they're already naming stars that are in it, it must be somewhat close to a done deal as far as it actually happening. So
with Melissa McCarthy having one of the big roles, was it a funny book, or do you think
no? Oh God, no. I mean, they freaking chop people's body parts up and
wow, what? Let's see this.
Well, I'm just thinking that she, like a lot of comedians, can play a serious role. I'll be curious to see what role she plays in it. How that works. But no, there's no. I mean, there might be a kind of a joke in a place or two, but it is not comedy by any means. I mean, it is basically a female version of the Sopranos. I mean, it's they take people, chop them up, throw them in plastic bags, and throw them in the river. It's not.
She's going to be in it too. Tiffany Haddish. I love Tiffany Haddish.
Oh, okay. No, but it's not a comedy. So I think it's basically her playing a serious role.
Okay, that's what I wondered about.
Vertigo imprint. The Vertigo imprint.
Yeah. Yep.
Wowzers.
Cool. So yay for those creators. They're gonna put some money in their pockets too. That means they'll get some bump of cash. I'm always happy to see people who only do independent work, because basically, really, that's all like the artist Ming Doyle does is independent work. For her to get banked that way, that's awesome. So good for them.
And then the way the book ended, do you see there being a possibility of them writing more, or is this a finite story?
Oh, I'm sure they can figure out how to work more. I mean, I think it works as a finite story too. If I remember correctly, though, I mean, because it's been a couple of years since that came out. They could figure out. I mean, the whole thing doesn't blow up. A lot of it does, but the whole thing doesn't blow up in their faces. But it's kind of left with it, potentially being that way and whatnot. So, I don't know why I guess maybe they would if they got a movie coming out and it's gonna be popular. Maybe that's enough for them to put out more. And I would check it out if they were going to. But I don't think they need to. Go do something else.
I just wondered once the movie comes out if it's too tempting not to put out another mini. So.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how popular it was in the first place. I mean, I know I got it, and I think Reedham Stevem got it. Off the top of my head, I can't think of. Maybe Brandon got it too. Mac Hammer, he might have got it. Beyond that, I can't really name anybody else I can remember at the time that was getting it. So, not that clearly I don't know everybody who reads comics. So I don't know if that's a litmus test, but I don't know. Do you know what I mean?
Just
I don't know
the cool kids read it, I guess. So
yeah. Only us literate highbrow people read it. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. Any other indie-ish kind of news? I can't think of anything else.
Nah, I can't think of.
Oh, man. Okay. So let's roll on to DC and talk some DC comics. What do we want to talk?
Lapping up milk.
We got to lap up some milk.
Yeah.
Lapping up all kinds of milk with our
other milk.
Our Milk Wars. This is part 3. It's issue 1, but it's part 3 of the Milk Wars. Milk Wars thing. So we'll have 2 more after this. We'll have the Cave Carson and Swamp Thing, and then we'll have the Doom Patrol Justice League to tie the whole thing up at the end, right? So in this one we have what is she called? She's not Wonder Woman. She is Wonder Wife. And so yes, if you ever had fantasies of Wonder Woman laying around in a jacuzzi of milk, or whatever, here you go, right? And the lapping, yes, because we get this wonderful fountain that, of course, is giving us the blessed milk, all nice and foamy, spurting all over the place. Oh.
Haps, I need my milks.
Haps, yes, is happy. Shay the Changing Girl is split into 5 people. Each of them are a single emotion, and Hap is happy. And most of the story is told through Hap's viewpoint. She starts to suddenly feel other emotions which aren't right. And of course, Wonder Wife just got married to Steve. She's cranking out appliance babies and dishing out the milk, and she likes to go to women's rallies where the women march around with signs that say "Ask me about my femininity" and "My body, your choice," and you know, she nevertheless she remained quiet and stayed in her place. You know, all these, you know, opposite slogans of what of course the rallies are in America right now. And they slowly have to work through breaking through it. I don't know that this story for me it wasn't particularly deep. I still think the Doom Patrol Justice League one's the deepest dive of all of them. But I still thought this was fun. I thought that was kind of ridiculous to watch all the kookiness and craziness of it. As she figures out that she's Wonder Woman and they have to go and climb into the eyeball along with everybody else and save the world.
Yeah.
And I continue to like the Eternity Girl, the basically 2-page story of Eternity Girl that's at the back of it. I've been liking that too. I'm looking forward to that miniseries hitting and seeing what that's like. But
I was trying to figure out the whole car crash thing they were talking about. That was real, right? Someone actually died in the car crash.
Are you talking about the Eternity Girl?
Yes, they said someone died in a car crash. They mentioned someone dying.
No, that's fake. That's all. See, this is supposed to be a fake comic, right? This is written like a 1980s, 90s. Yeah, so that's like the editor's note. Yeah, it's all.
Okay, good. I was just making sure. I was like, whoa, this who died, and like, what is this?
Best of my knowledge, I guess I could look it up. I thought it was fake because I don't remember Alpha 13 comic book through the 90s, early 90s, and I hadn't taken my hiatus from comics in the very early 90s yet, so I can't imagine that I wouldn't have come across something like this now.
Yeah, I was like, that name didn't register a bell. So
right.
That's why I asked you, because I was like, who is that? I don't remember that name. I remembered that, but yeah, just in case.
But the whole milk thing in the main story is all goofy and whatnot. I mean, Steve Trevor's head is a giant milk carton. Is his head? He doesn't actually have a real head. It's a milk carton. Her babies are like a hand vacuum and a mixer and a blender, and yeah, I mean it's just
it's painful to breastfeed.
Exactly. There's milk all over, so I guess don't worry about it, right? So she has Wonder Wife, so I'm assuming those are pretty durable too, like everything else about her. She can handle all the lapping.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Mike, you want to talk about your book?
Sure. Red Hood and the Outlaws. So
great cover.
Yes, I did like that. Though when I was looking through, do you recognize any of these villains or?
I mean, that's kind of like a fake TV Bane there that's getting smacked by Red Hood in the middle. That's, to me, they all look like almost like this is almost a version of Firebug, for instance. This is like an almost version of Bane. So they're not true. They're like your I don't know, E-grade villains kind of a thing. I mean, because you see the people running out of the bar. Nobody in that bar I could name when in the actual comic when Bizarro walks in the bar and they all go running. I think they just made people look like villains.
Okay. Yeah. I did think it was an amazing start. I mean, we see Artemis here with was it Takara as the artist. So I mean, it wasn't Soy who we were used to. I do love they show the scars on her back to show she's a warrior, even though
right. She's scantily clad, but still clearly is not. She's got war wounds for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I still thought all of the characters looked very solid. I liked her interpretation of our Smart Bizarro down here in the bottom. Though as soon as they go on the date, he also dips himself into the the kryptonite fluid that he had been stealing, where he's now hallucinating as Pup is talking to him.
Right there, folks. Visually confirmed. Lap, lap, lap.
We already know why. We already know why.
True lapping. Lap, lap, lap. Lap it up. So, no, it was great.
But yeah. The whole, I mean, for anybody who hasn't read this, Bizarro is consuming synthetic kryptonite.
Everything's opposite with Bizarro, though.
Right.
Otherwise, it would
be. So the kryptonite is what's making him smarter, keeping him smart. But it's also, he's clearly addicted to it too. It's clearly like crack cocaine to him. He hallucinates when he's doing it because he talks to Pup, his little toy Superman. I love all that stuff. It's just great. He's paranoid. Spends his entire time watching Artemis and Red Hood on their date.
Yeah, that was awesome. So yeah, they go to the one place they can't be watched, which I don't know how the Batcave is any different than anywhere else because everybody seems to get access to it. But they use a whiteboard to mark it down. She's like, "I'm worried about Bizarro," and he goes, "This isn't really a date, is it?" And she's like, duh. So it was good to have their discussion back and forth on that. This is a mostly bogus date.
I like that because I was concerned that this might turn into for us old people who remember the show Moonlighting, that this would be kind of a moonlighting moment that, maybe some tension between Artemis and Jason, fine, whatever. But if you cross the boundaries into actual true romance, does that break the dynamics of the team by doing that? And this way they show that there might still be something there, but they're not really being romantic because they were just trying to find a way to get away from Bizarro and Bizarro wasn't watching them so they could talk about the fact that Bizarro is clearly playing them. We've been reading along and going, gee, Bizarro's, basically doing all this stuff and they haven't noticed. Well, they have noticed. They've just been being quiet about it. And this issue shows us that they've just been being quiet about it. So, and then there's this that mysterious guy. What's his face? What's he called? What do he call himself? That Bizarro meets in the bar.
Oh, it's something about like being multi-dimensional.
Yeah, I'll find it at some point.
Yeah,
he was kind of interesting. I know he's a blur.
Yeah, singularity or no solidarity. Yeah. Call me. Yeah.
Solitary.
Is that what it is? Solitary. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Solitary. I do like that we see that while he is a super genius after what Luthor did, he keeps slipping back to Bizarro, and that's what his fear is, I believe. That,
right.
We thought it was the flowers for Algernon, that, you would be smart for a while, then you would regress back to your lesser intelligence. And because he every once in a while will slip into I am me, and he's like, quickly corrects himself and gets mad. And I love that part. The only thing I do worry about is, what do we do when he goes back to being simple Bizarro? I mean, I worry that we built up to this huge arc, and I don't know where we go after this arc.
Oh, so you think if they ultimately dumb him back down, that now he's not gonna be as fun or as charming as a character because he's just a brick house again?
Yeah, because as Artemis and that, do they keep feeling sorry? Do they keep trying to reestablish his intelligence? I don't want us to get caught into this loop storyline.
Right, and Luthor is still watching over him. He's like, at one point there is a scene of Luthor in there going, clever boy. So
yeah,
I don't know. That's an interesting question. I hadn't thought of that. What's the ultimate end goal when we're at the end of this? If he does slide back into being standard Bizarro, what does that mean? Does he then become? Yeah. Well, I don't know. He goes back to being the comedy relief, right? He goes back to being the, smash it hard and say funny stuff. I don't know.
Yeah,
but it might lose all the emotional parts of the character too. Yeah.
Yeah. Or the thing I keep worrying about is, they keep dragging it up because then do they treat him like the little brother they need to protect as opposed to the third wheel monster that he was? I also wonder, is Luthor watching him as, he's very smart and this is what I did? Or is he thinking, oh no, I created a mad genius and I'm going to have to take him down?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll find out, huh?
Yeah. So, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm really excited for this. I just worry that we either get totally off, we lose Bizarro as our third character, or we keep looping this cycle where we keep trying to fix Bizarro. So
Right. For sure. But really, 19 issues of great fun.
yes, it has been. I got to admit that too.
I mean, I'm really pleasantly surprised. I've finally quit going, waiting for the other shoe to drop statement along with this comic, because I don't feel like we're going to get it. I mean, I'm not saying that there haven't been points, there have been better issues than other issues, but I think we're well past the point, for me anyway, of feeling like that apprehensive, like the first, I don't know, 6 months at least, that whole apprehension around when is Liddell going to throw Liddell in here and take us someplace we don't want to be. So far, it's been really, really good. This has even been more enjoyable than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be simple. I thought we'd have an issue or two of him being this elevated thing and then him slide back into what he was, and we go on to some other story. Yeah. This is way more story around this than I ever thought we would get. So I'm digging it, but that is a curious thought. I hadn't really thought about that. What does this look like when we come out the other side of it?
Yeah, because I love this idea of an opposite trinity, and so I would hope that they keep with that. Because I don't know. I mean, I read some of the other runs of Red Hood and the Outlaws. I mean, it's always kind of the three of them. So I would kind of hope that we keep this group, but I don't know. Do we lose, add a character? Do we grow the team? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't either.
Has there ever been more than the 3-pack of them?
No.
Okay.
Red Hood and the Outlaws has always been Red Hood, and then it was Starfire and Roy Arsenal in the New 52 run of it, and then it was this. So yeah. Good stuff anyway. Let's see. Detective Comics 974. So that's what's left of Clayface. He no longer exists. He is dead for all practical purposes. The bullet that Batwoman shot him with destabilized him and made him inert. He is now just a pile of clay, which of course puts a massive rift through the Bat family. You've got the traditional Bat family. So that's Robin, Orphan, Batman, basically telling Batwoman that this is not how we operate. You're going to have to go, go sit in the corner because we don't want to deal with you anymore. And Batwing and Azrael are like, wait a second. She just saved hundreds of people, by taking the shot, making the call and taking the shot. She saved hundreds of people. Because at this point, Clayface had so much clay in him that he was like Godzilla size, just, crushing buildings and stuff like that. And she knew he was going to slip back. So she takes the shot, does him in, huzzah, yay, kind of a thing. That's all well and fine. I don't mind that rift because clearly her shooting something is against, Batman code. Tim Drake, Red Robin breaks down in here. There's a bunch of scenes of him on his knees weeping because he's turning into the evil Tim Drake of the future no matter what he does. He's not good enough, blah, 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 blah. I'm not enjoying the book. I'm not enjoying the book because this is 100% the Tim Drake that I can't stand. Everything about him. Stephanie leaves. She's sick of him. She's like, yeah, I'm done with your shenanigans. Happy you're back. Happy you're alive. But I'm leaving because this is all bull. She's gone. So the next arc is, them dealing with Batwoman. What's going to happen now that she's whatever. I don't know. The book is gone, a place that I didn't really want to go to. The trial of Batwoman is what the next arc is called. And our little bratty genius that was working for Kate's dad, the general, he had hacked into Brother Eye because Brother Eye kind of tagged along with future other dimensional Tim Drake. And while Brother Eye was there, they kind of linked up. So now he's using Brother Eye. So we can't seem to get away from these few story elements. It feels to me like Brother Eye is a story element that they can't keep dragging along. I feel like it's well past its use at this point. So I'm less and less enthused with Detective Comics as it goes along. I like some of the characters in it, so I'll probably hang on for a while longer. But unless they do something with Clayface, ultimately, like he somehow comes back from this, he literally was a walking, talking utility belt, and that's as good as he ever got in the comic, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, I'm glad I never picked it up, because that's what I was waiting on, was a good Clayface arc, and it sounded like that never came, and it was
right. I know, because when this first started out, you mentioned you're kind of potentially regretting because of the whole Clayface thing in it, and then it's there. And for me, it never panned out. I mean, maybe somebody else got more mileage out of it. I never did. It never really panned out to be to dive into what's it really like for him. They kind of the annual, they kind of touch on it a little bit, but the annual is kind of a secondary story on above and beyond it. It's getting on thin ice for me. It is a double ship comic. It needs to be better than, not less than, when it's a twice a month kind of a book, and it's one of the last twice a month books that's still out there, and I don't know that I need to spend the money on it. As much as I love Detective Comics and normally pick it up all the time, it's one of those moments where I'm trying to tell myself I don't have to own it. If it's going to continue to be, especially if it's going to be more Drake-centric stories, then I'm just done.
Well, and I got to imagine with the double shipping and everything else, if you want to ever go back and buy them, I got to imagine there's going to be tons of them in dollar, bins when you go to cons, when you go to big cities that have the stores.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I'm seeing that in my store there's a ton of Marvel, there's a ton of double ship comics on the wall. So,
yeah. Ragman issue 5 of 6 looks gorgeous. Wonderful art by Miranda and colors by De La Cruz in it. This is like the penultimate issue, the big kind of we build up to the ultimate battle in this. The demons in this, the demons kind of been playing Ragman. In this, they're kind of implying that the cloak of rags is actually a product of hell. It actually belongs to one of the demons of the fifth realm, the ones that rhyme and whatnot. There is this big giant demon there wanting to collect it. A Shiny Knight shows up in this issue because the Shiny Knight's the original person that hid this cloak away. The Shiny Knight shows up to beat up Demon because he thinks Etrigate is actually after it, and he's like, "No, it's not me. I'm using it as bait for this other demon that I want to smack around and whatnot." And so it's a big giant brawl. Towards the end of it, Ragman tries to strike a deal with this other demon. And of course, you never strike a deal with a demon. I mean, the Shiny Knight even tells him that as he's shaking hands with the demon, and the demon looks like the demon's going to wreck him. But like I said, I love the way this looks, but I'm nostalgic. I miss the green costume with the hood and the pokey, the high-topped hood and that sort of stuff. But I am enjoying this, though. It visually looks really cool. So that's a Gilliam March cover, and I like the Gilliam March art, too. So
yeah. The Shining Knight, is that one of the 7 soldiers?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah. Well, the Shining Knight was around longer than that, but yes, that is one.
Yeah,
but the Shining Knight. I remember. And the Shining Knight was also in, I believe, in Demon Knights, the New 52.
Oh yes, yep.
Demon Knights was in that. It's at one point or another. Let's see if I can find a picture of the Shining Knight right offhand.
He's got like the winged horse and
I ultimately don't see the winged horse. Yeah, but they are right there. Yeah. I say they because the Shining Knight, since Grant Morrison touched it, seems to be gender fluid. So I'm not 100% sure guy or gal or if it matters, but
yeah,
the Shining Knight.
Well, and I think I saw either in one of the Twitter links or in a article, there was a question with King. He was like, I'm either thinking about doing Mr. Miracle or the Shining Knights. And Mitch was like, well, what's the Shining Knights? And he's like, oh, they rode Dobermans. And he's like, no, at that point, Mr. Miracle. Like, he only said that much, and they're like, no giant dogs.
I don't blame him. That's hilarious. That's funny. I'll quickly talk New Mr. Superman, and now with the new title and the Justice of China, the dawn of a new era. Fun, straight up superhero comic. They've got a new base of operations. The Ministry of Defense, or whatever they are, where the Justice League of China originally came from, that they broke ties with, now have an army of simulated Green Lanterns that are kind of harassing the Justice League. So they're having to deal with that. Plus, they're fighting whatever superpowers things are going on. Tangle stuff. It's got the kind of goofy stuff of young superhero stuff in it. And they're gonna have some North Korea stuff going on. There's a person spilling over the border from North Korea that, I don't know, seems to just sweat profusely like a sponge. He has an obsession with The Simpsons, and his sweat becomes actual pools, and like fish can hop out of it and stuff. These giant crabs come out and save him because he had an illegal television in North Korea and he was watching The Simpsons. And of course, the government found out about it and were torturing him, with his propaganda and the, don't have a cow, man, and all that kind of stuff. So he's racing across the borders to China to try and save himself. So there's going to be some diplomatic stuff go on there, I would guess too. But it's a fun comic. I'm still enjoying it. I'm glad it's sticking around for a while longer. Fun characters in it, and just a stinker of a book. Michael Cray, even not taking the Wildstorm into consideration, just this as its own book, it's just not good. He's chasing Aquaman down now. Aquaman is Curry is from a long line of people who believe that they're Atlanteans, that they've got Atlantean blood in them. They used to do occult stuff, mystic stuff, or whatever. Now they're into genetics. They've actually genetically altered themselves, so they're part fish of some sort. So this latest Aquaman, he has green web. He's got body parts that look more like the creature from the Black Lagoon, kind of a thing. And Cray is sent to take him out. But there's a long fight scene in this that's not done well. It's not choreographed well. It's just not interesting and not good. And I'm not sad I'm going to be not getting it anymore. It's just really unfortunate because I think we're all digging Wildstorm, and that's his Turkey City. So,
because now, is that supposed to tie into Wildstorm? Because from what I've seen, it's like a whole different universe, because you got this Justice League who is this totally different Justice League that he's like killing.
Well, but I'm assuming that this means that Wildstorm is not in the same actual universe that this stuff is. It's clearly it's a Earth whatever. I mean, I'm assuming if we want to be DC Universe about it, they're on Earth, I don't know, 73 50, or something.
Yeah.
Right.
All right.
And so, because he was in those first books. He's the guy that, okay, so it's attached to that. So he is quietly doing all this other stuff, quietly taking out these. I mean, we're not sure who he's working for. I mean, they haven't really exposed themselves completely. They could be part of the whole Skynet stuff, or I don't know. They don't get into any of that. That would make it more interesting. He's being manipulated. He's a badass, but he's being manipulated. He gets in a big giant sword fight with a bunch of people with axes in this because they want to get rid of him because they sacrifice a person to Curry, the king of the sea, and he gives them a bounty of stuff. They sacrifice a body. The sharks and him eat a woman up out in the ocean, and then boom, there's lots of fish. There's all this great stuff for them. So it's that kind of backwards sacrifice for blah 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 kind of a thing.
Just as a counterpoint, I got a couple buddies here in Sioux Falls that read it. They love that book. They love that series.
Is this the Wednesday guys?
Yeah, Wednesday's Comics podcast. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to go I'm gonna have to go listen to that. I'm not up to date on what they've been talking about because I'd be curious to see what it is that they like about it, because I'd be fascinated to know what that is. If it's just purely a matter of taste, or are they seeing something I'm not seeing, or what the case is. I mean, I mean, part of me would get excited about, ooh, there's this alternate Justice League kind of out there and they're whacking them or whatever, but it's not done well.
All right. Yeah. No, and it is I think it is just
Yeah.
a sense of taste on, you know, what we're doing.
Mhm.
And that's what recently with the Swamp Thing winter one, I heard 3 different people talk about it, and it was really amazing to hear your interpretation. Trying to think.
Sleepy Reader, he thought it was stinky, right? So
yeah, Sleepy's, the Wednesday Comics, because in Sioux Falls we have the Guinness Book World Record holder for the most Swamp Thing items ever. So he was talking about it, especially as a Swamp Thing aficionado and lover of it. And then over in England, I'm trying to think of what his name is, who always does the Wednesday haul for those guys.
Ghost Critic?
Ghost Critic's interpretation of it.
Mm-hmm. Mark.
So it was very interesting to hear everybody's thoughts on it, because everybody did. They came in from totally different angles, you know, and sometimes from totally different headspaces. And I think that's what's great about, as we discuss this, that, you know, there's tons of things that I know that we'll disagree on, just sometimes because of headspace. I mean, even me and Rez, she was all happy for Skyborn, and I was all pissed off to begin with reading it. So I don't know that I could have ever been happy, but I love it. I just love that part of this part of the discussion of it. And
it is an art form. And as an art form, you know, art is interpreted differently depending on who you are, for sure. For sure. And that's cool. If they like the book, I'm not beefing with anybody who likes the book. The nuts and bolts of it for me aren't good. I don't feel like it's a matter of it's not telling a story that meets my taste. It's the nuts and bolts of what makes a good comic, I feel like, are lost in that book. So it's less about the story idea now and more about, I just don't think it's executed well. But
all right,
I beat that horse hard enough. And that's it for my DC books.
I'm done.
DC news?
I know people have been doing reviews on the Batman by Gaslight, because that's out and being watched, and so definitely recommend people go look for those. So
I haven't watched any of those. I'm a slacker. I'm not a real fan. I haven't watched any of that stuff. Yeah. I haven't. All those animated things, I haven't watched any of them. So I need to get around to doing that at some point. Problem is, I got to watch them, and then my kids go, I want to watch it too. I think getting both those teenagers together in the room at the same time is sometimes impossible. So
that's why you sneak downstairs, say you're going to clean, and then start watching.
That's what it is. Okay, yeah. I'm just putting away comic books.
Yeah.
What's that theme music? I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I go into the comic cave in my house and hide in there. So.
Nice. Alrighty, I'm going to quickly talk Marvel books. I think I'm the only person that picked up Marvel books this week, so it shan't take long. Ms. Marvel, this is part of the it says Legacy, whatever that means. Teenage Wasteland storyline with all of Ms. Marvel's. Kamala's real friends are all trying to be Ms. Marvel. They're fighting against the progenitor, I believe. I can't remember exactly what the character's name is. Giant genetic mutated parrot that was in the first arc of the book, and then he was collecting children that were like runaways and using them as living batteries to power everything, and he was going to solve the world's problems by powering the world on disposable children. Well, he's escaped out of jail, out of prison, and now he's picking on old people. That's his thing. Because I get people care about children. They're the future, blah, blah, blah. Nobody gives a crap about an old person. They're used up. They're spent anyway. Let's put them to good use by turning them into batteries to power the world, blah, blah, blah. Of course, this ensemble of people aren't going to stop him. They're not real superheroes. They trip, fall, and all over themselves to try and fight the giant parrot. The giant parrot gets away. They're in a bit of a panic. Can't figure out what to do. Lo and behold, I guess Mikey, who is the green-haired one down here, one time she saw Ms. Marvel leaving out of the school and she dropped something and she picked it up and didn't tell Ms. Marvel about it. Well, it's the little communicator thing you push to call Captain Marvel. And she's like, well, so we got this ace in her hand, and they're all like freaking out. So they go up on top of the school building and they push this button, and they're pushing it and pushing it, and they're like, what's supposed to happen? Is something supposed to happen? I don't know if something's supposed to happen. And all of a sudden, while they're all arguing with each other about whether or not it's broken or not, here comes Captain Marvel comes flying down at the end of the comic to go, okay, who's going to explain what's going on here? Because clearly none of them are Kamala, who's supposed to be pushing the button. And then she looks over the horizon, and there's all these green flashes going all over Jersey City. And she's like, okay, I think I get it now. So we'll see what happens in the next issue. The next issue concludes this arc. But Kamala's been gone. There's a guy who used to talk sandwiches with her. That's basically all he did. He was a teenager who talked sandwiches. He's been doing detective work in each issue, trying to hunt Kamala down, going to all of her haunts, because she has literally just removed herself from everything. She isn't even showing up at school. Like, it's implied that maybe she's wearing a school uniform and she's going to school someplace else and not just hanging with the rest of the kids anymore. So we'll see what happens in it. I'm enjoying it. It's fun. It's not, most of the time it's not any kind of deep dive in anything, but sometimes it has some good emotional moments, whatnot. But it's back to being a fun comic. So see where the last issue of it goes to. And my final issue of Doctor Strange. This is one of the legacy books, the 385. The end of the Loki Sorcerer Supreme. They fight the big bad thing at the end of this. Zelma finds out that this spell that can take all magic away is locked to her soul. She's offended that Stefan put it there and did not tell him about it. So it kind of breaks their relationship in a ways. Loki pulls it out, gives magic back to the world. He doesn't completely fix it from the whole science guys that wrecked it all, but he puts it back a lot closer to what it was. The void almost kills them. They do battle it back, and everything ends up being fine at the end of it. He's back to being the Sorcerer Supreme, because guess what? He never wasn't the Sorcerer Supreme. Loki cast a giant illusion. He was just messing with them the whole time. He just wanted to see what it was like. So he just jerked his chain the entire time. And maybe it was because he wanted to get that spell and fix magic. Who knows? He starts to tell like 6 different stories and goes, nah, that one really doesn't sound very good, does it? How about this one? Nah, that one doesn't sound good either. I just felt like it. Doctor Strange finally opens up a portal and drops him to God knows where just to get rid of him. But it ends with Zelma leaving. She's like, forget it. I want nothing to do with you anymore. I need a break from all of this. And then it sets up the whole going to Vegas thing. So I dropped the book at just the perfect moment, because that gets into the whole, I don't know, Doctor Strange Defiance story arc or whatever, which has its own miniseries plus crosses over into this. My understanding is the body count on that is 15 issues to get the whole story. Bullcrap. If you're going to do that, put all 15 issues in the main story and let me read it all there. And I don't want to have to buy 3 books in a month to get the story. So I like it, though. I like this creative team. I like, what Donny Cates has been writing, how he handles the characters, I think has all been well, and it's been enjoyable. But that marketing behavior, because it's the only way I can think of it, to try and, create more books to somehow force me to spend more money, just makes the decision for me to not get it. And I'm reading more and more articles, where they're interviewing comic book store owners, and those comic book stores are going, the lenticular covers, this kind of salesman stuff is just bullshit, and it's part of what's killing them. Plus the other thing that's killing the comic book market right now is all of retail, not just comic book stores, all retail, makeup stores, home appliance stores, all retail, walk-in retail is struggling right now. It's how we as consumers consume, or don't consume, I guess, as the case may be. But
it's because you're a Marvel hater. That's what it is. Plain and simple.
100%. I would love to
look at
get
me.
it.
I'm buying the hats and the shirts and that.
Yeah.
No, you got this Batman thing up behind you.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. I don't own a single piece of Marvel clothing.
Yeah. See. And of course, no, I don't buy any Marvel books, but I still watch the movies. I still buy the hats and all that. That eventually gets to them, I'm sure.
Well, it gets to somebody. I don't know that helps the comic book company,
No,
but
no, it doesn't.
you know, but yeah, but no, I mean, I would love to enjoy more. They cancel the books that I like, and I don't want to. The big titles that they continue to support always is the stuff I don't want to dive into because it gets spread all over the place. It can't just simply be the Avengers. The Avengers got to go all over. It can't just be one X-Men book. It has to be 4 X-Men book.
Yeah. Well, that was. I know Sleepy printed it or put it in Twitter. You know that DC, of course, is doing this wonderful, you know, on recycled paper and everything like that. Yeah. I said Marvel one-upped them, and they just take all the issues that came out in the 90s, and they're just printing right over the same issues and sending those out with even crappier covers.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, offhand, I don't see that on. I'm looking at my Doctor Strange, and I don't see, because that would be like on the interior cover or something like that, right? And I don't see.
Yeah.
I don't see the big. Yeah. I don't see the big thing saying, "Oh, look, we're special." I mean, they may be, and I just start reading the fine print. But yeah. At any rate, I did go to Black Panther opening night. I went Thursday night, and
your little town had it.
My little town had it. My little town had it, and the opening 7 o'clock, the first showing of it on Thursday. There were a few seats here and there, but it was pretty full. It was pretty full. You know, it's a Marvel movie. People are going to go see it because it's a Marvel movie. I won't deep dive into it. I know nobody else has watched it, and it's too early. I mean, it's, you know, this is only Saturday night of people watching it the first weekend. I'm happy to have a conversation in a couple of weeks with people about it when people have seen it. I really enjoyed it. It looked gorgeous. The characters are cool. Everybody in it, all the characters in it are way beyond, you know, one-dimensional or two-dimensional. They all have depth. Claw in it is cool. I mean, it's not the, you know, red, pink wearing, you know, guy with the big, you know, dish on his hand, but he's still, I mean, but this modern interpretation of the character, I really enjoyed. I enjoyed the hell out of him. He was a lot of fun. Kilgore was a badass in it. Black Panther, of course, is cool. His sister, you know, she's this kind of tech savvy girl. She's fun. Their relationship, the stuff that she comes up with, that kind of how things work and whatnot, I thought was really fun. There's maybe one element during there's a ceremony of him becoming king. There's one piece of humor in there that was kind of dumb. It was the equivalent of having a you're at a wedding, and the person that's overseeing the wedding goes, if anybody has anything to say to stop this wedding, you know, now or forever, hold your peace. And some smart ass stands up to say something just to be a smart ass. That happens during him becoming king. And I thought that was kind of dumb. But beyond that, the show was great. Visually, this looks really cool. The characters are cool. I'm sure I'll watch it again. I don't know if I'll hit the theater again to watch it, because taking a family of 4 to the movies is not cheap. But I'll probably for sure watch it again.
Tell them that you're going out to volunteer your hours. You know they'll say no, and then sneak in the theater. I'm telling you, that's how you do it.
Okay. You got all this sly stuff down, I tell you.
You bet, yeah.
Cool.
I'm throwing myself down the stairs and tell my wife I'm going to the ER, and then I'm going to see it without her. So.
Oh, okay. Nice. Nice. Anyway, yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think if you watch the other Marvel movies and you like them, there's no reason why you wouldn't dig this one too. So, yeah. Alrighty. Any other Marvel kind of news we want or need to talk about?
Not that I could think of.
Okay. No. Okay. Couple weeks out from the second season of Jessica Jones, I think. Like the 8th, I think, is when that starts. So looking forward to that. Yeah. Well, I guess with that, we'll call it a night. And trying to think. I think next weekend I'll be here. The weekend after that I will not be here because I'll be at Emerald City Comic Con. So anyway, have a great night. Thank you. Thank you for coming on and talking comics with me, Mike. Always appreciate it. And Rez, who's not really here, we'll thank her too. And thank you guys who were in the comments and commented and are watching the show. Always appreciated. Come on, come talk with us. We'll be here next week, I'm sure. Have a great one, everybody.